I just got back from shoveling snow on the sidewalk. It's like -20°C, which is so freezing. Hello, my name is Christine, otherwise known as Roasty, and I make primarily book videos. This time it's going to be a little bit different because I'm the one writing a book. Now, this is not the first book that I wrote. I've wrote like 3 books before in the past. I've always loved writing. For instance, this notebook, I had to be like probably 8 whenever I wrote this. Maddie was eating breakfast. My favorite, eggs and bacon, she said. Oh, here's another Ramona and Beezus knockoff. Hazel and Naomi. The Story of the Sponge. I think I wrote this when I was like 12, so I was a little later on. It was kind of during my Warrior Cats phase. I was a creative little child, okay? That's all I can say. The first ever fantasy I wrote was in this notebook, and I actually wrote quite a bit of it. Like, all these pages are of the story, which is pretty impressive, actually. Anyways, it was called The 4 Gems of Callista, and if I'm remembering correctly, it was a mystery fantasy about like these kids going to a school, and like one of the teachers is not who he says he is because, okay, this is kind of funny, but the teacher, I was making the teacher to act like my cat Mike. At least I was coming up with original story ideas. And then I started to move on to writing, not in my notebooks, but on an actual computer. The first book that I ever wrote on my own, like, and I actually finished the whole thing, is called An Emerald Necklace. Okay, so technically I wrote 2 books, a draft 1 and a draft 2, but I count them as separate books because they're so different from each other. The AEN draft 1 is a knockoff Keeper of Lost Cities about fairies. So my word count on this first ever book that I finished is 46,000 words, which is actually pretty good for the first ever book I ever finished. Anyways, I wrote this when I was 12. This book had so many titles. First it was just Project Purple Rose, and then it was The Vanishing Realms, and then it was Lily's Land, and then after it was Whatever Happened to Lily Fields. The total word count for this book is almost 60,000 words. And I wrote this in like 2 months. I don't know how I was able to do this. But yeah, this is also never gonna really see the light of day because it's a little bit cringy. And also because I really pantsered it. I used to be such a pantser, but now I am definitely a plotter because my stories just are so much more stronger if I plot. And the last book that I wrote was The Emerald Necklace, which is the same. It has the same characters and like sort of the same world as An Emerald Necklace draft 1, but it's really different. And I think I almost hit 100,000 words with this one. Almost 98,000 words in this document. A story about a world called Lydney, a quest, and the future empress. Book 1 of the Lydney Chronicles. So this was actually going to be a trilogy. I started writing the second book, but I kind of fell off of it. I feel like I kind of outgrown the series a little bit. And those are all the books that I wrote. I've of course started other little books, but I just shelved them and I don't think I'm ever going to be coming back to them just because I was kind of finding out what I like writing and what I don't like writing. Like, I wrote a dystopian and I realized that I hated writing dystopian. I don't mind reading them, but I hate writing them. I was just kind of finding out like what I like writing. And now on to my current project. This is the aesthetic of my current project. It is, I don't think I'm going to reveal the title just yet. If you're watching this and you know the title, no spoilers allowed. I just call it the project name, which is Project Ruined Castle, even though there's not much of a ruined castle in the story at all. I actually got the idea for Project Ruined Castle, believe it or not, through a TD Insurance ad. There's like this girl taking selfies in front of a castle. And then after, this bodyguard walked up and the bodyguard said, "Hey, you can't be here. This is private property." And the girl was like, "I can be here. I'm like the 2000th in line to claim this castle, you know, as my inheritance." And boom, there was an idea. Over the summer, I just kind of acquired more ideas. And in September 1st, I finally stopped plotting and began writing draft 1, where I am at right now. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking because I've talked for like way too long and I'm gonna actually start writing now. I'm just gonna read you the blurb. So here it is. 13-year-old Phoebe Clark lives at Forest Town boarding school and never would have guessed that she would get a telegram telling that her mother has died. Even more so that she's inherited an abandoned castle and the title of Great Duchess of Egonia. Now her best friend treats her differently. She feels responsible for her country's impending war, and worst of all, she has assassins hunting her down for her land and seat. These assassins and her call to adventure lead her to the quest to the secluded Frost Mountains. It's Frost Holds. I changed that throughout the brainstorming process to ask for her country's assistance and to escape. Phoebe won't be doing it alone though. Old and new friends will join her on the way, and the legacy of her father and mother, for better or worse. The Frost Holds haven't communicated with others outside the country for over a century, and the assassins may know about the war than Phoebe knows herself. Who can Phoebe trust, and what is she really fighting for? Dun dun dun. So that is basically what my story is about. It's changed us a little bit, so I'm gonna have to tweak the blurb because I wrote the blurb before I actually wrote the story. I'm at least halfway through the first draft. So the genre I'm writing in is upper middle grade fantasy. It's kind of in between middle grade and YA because I feel like I really needed those books when I was like 12 or 13. Because I didn't really feel like I was ready to start reading YA yet, but I felt like I was growing out of middle grade and I just didn't really know what to read. So this book is kind of dedicated towards my younger self. But okay, I just finished writing part of chapter 16. I only wrote a little bit, only like 200 words, but I think that's good enough for now because it's only the morning. But even if I just did that much, that's good as long as I'm making progress every day because that is one of my goals for 2025, to write almost every day. But anyways, I think that's enough writing for now. I think I might get some food to eat. Anyways, I think this is the end of this video. I thought it was going to be more like a vlog, but it turned out to be very chatty. So, I feel so YouTuber-y saying that, but if you want to see more writing videos like this, leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment if the comments are finally turned on my YouTube videos. Please, YouTube, I am old enough to have comments on my videos, please. That is the end. See you later. I'll do a dramatic goodbye like last video. Bye. Goodbye. I don't know why I explained it this way when I already had a blurb. So, oopsies, haha. And I don't even feel like reading whenever I'm sick, and that says a lot about me. I don't know why I'm talking about this though.